Zahrina, welcome to the show. Such a joy to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And hi, everyone.
You recently published a book, The Art of Radical Reinvention. What is the core message in that book?
Well, it's about, my story, really. And I didn't really realize it was radical upon realizing what I what I had done all my life. I took a bit of a I took some time out to think about what my journey was, where it's been and where it's going. And I was like, oh, that's quite radical. So and I went, oh, okay, well, it's not badly radical. It's a great radical, and I loved it. And it's all about reinventing. So, and because I'm an expert in personal branding and helping people really understand a lot about their personal brand and the depths of that, I I I I've just sort of meshed it all together and really working on my own messaging and my own reinvention moving forward based on the book uh, that will be published next next couple of months. And I'm just excited to be able to share that, doing keynotes and podcasts. And yeah, it's interesting. It's really fun.
How do you feel people can do the same? How do you feel people can reinvent themselves? What are some of the lessons you took, and what are some steps that people can do to follow that path?
Well, it came from you know, everybody reinvents themselves somewhere, somehow. They've all done it. I mean, you pretty be a bit beige if you haven't reinvented yourself since COVID or during COVID. I mean, so many people have. And it's pivot is a word for it, right? But reinvention, radical, the art of radical reinvention, there is an art to it. It's an art to doing it instead of, say, pivoting around like a head, a chicken without their head cut off. You know what I mean? Like it's like instead of being all that, you are doing the art of it and doing it gracefully and and with methodology behind it. So moving forward, I think that a lot of people can look at ways that they can tap into their intuition, looking out for the signs and watching what is it their heart desires, what is it they really want to do. And in the next 5 to 10 years, I mean, 5 years is good to look at, and it helps, looking at a smaller amount of time instead of saying, I want to look at the next 5, or I want to look at the next 10 years, right? So working on the next 5 years is really good to start with. And that helps with starting to get the wheels in motion, starting to get the heart connecting to the mind about where you want to be and why you want to be doing the things that you want to do. And, you know, we don't need to be married to the next 15 years, right? We need to be married to tomorrow. And that's all. So really, it's important to really not um, be too out there with an extreme about what you want to do, but be extreme and radical about your reinvention, because life is short. Really, life is too short to sit and be beige.
Sit and be beige. And I love this idea of being aligned with what's important for you. And I feel this is a core element both in business and also being fulfilled, but also exactly in branding, because at the end of the day, in your brand, you're reflecting your mission, your purpose, your core values. So tell us more about this and this idea of personal brand and why it's so important for you.
Well, personal branding is important to me. I've grown up with it. Like I've developed. I've got a marketing background. I used to work for marketing and branding and for Louis Vuitton, Moët Hennessy, LVMH, and I loved it. And I just loved the idea of the excitement of marketing. I love the excitement of marketing something and then selling something and an idea and things. And then I brought it to people, humans. And then I just happened to have a natural gift for photography. Then I mashed it all together, and then I and then I just invented personal branding, and I was the pioneer for it. I've got a lot of copycats people, which is fine, but I was the early starters, and I really enjoyed developing that process. And it's just some people just don't know how to do it right, and I know how to do it right, and there is a big difference. There's a huge difference. You have to be strategic in your mindset about understanding people and humans and how to do the personal branding properly from a marketing point of view, and very, very creative. And I've a lot of ideas for what I do for my clients, and seeing deeply intuitively and very fast, laser focused on how I see and feel them for their next 5 years. And I love that. I just love that. I nothing gets me more excited about tuning into somebody and doing that with them. Yeah. Yeah. So I have my product offerings of brand in a day, which is really I do it globally. I create people's brands in a day, and they go off and birth it. And I love it. It's really good. It's very good.
You said that some people do this wrong. What is it that you feel you do differently? And what is it that you see sometimes in the world of branding that you feel is maybe too shallow or maybe not as deep as you'd like it to be?
Well, I saw someone's brand the other day on LinkedIn, and it was a different name to, which is fine. It's fine. It's in line with them. But it was a word, the wording of it was off. So it wasn't engaging in the new messaging. Then on top of that, the imagery, the photography was wrong. It was grainy images. It was images that were not inviting me to connect, but more inviting me to repel, which is fine because all brands need to repel and attract, okay? No problem. But it was just, I thought the quality of the photos and the imagery of the photos on the website was grainy and low quality. That's what I picked up on. The other thing is that the website design in regards to the launch of this personal brand, it was mushed up color. It just felt wrong. It just felt wrong. It was irky in the way that the colors were, right? So it was really interesting to kind of get those feelings from that person who I know, but also I'm going, oh, has this hit the mark for her? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, if she's happy, she's happy. But see, people are living in this thing called their brand, and they don't understand, is it hitting the mark or not? And so what I do is give people's brand audits and tell them exactly what I'm seeing, and giving them the options and the honesty and the clarity and the bullseye of where they need to go if they're going to do it right, and what they're doing wrong right now. And I love doing that. I do it very fast. So I'm very, very fast and efficient at doing and giving people feedback.
What do you feel is some of the core pillars that people need to look at? If someone's listening to this and wants to first check on their own, how their brand is, look at if it's coherent, look if it feels right, what are some pillars people need to look at to see if their brand is coherent and engaging?
Oh, it's their videos, it's their messaging, it's how they're turning up on their videos, how they're turning up in general, what's that clear, consistent message right across the social media platform and everything like that. And then it's just really, it's all about consistency. But of the feeling. And so that's all. My values are purpose, adventure, and creativity. So they might be different in another 5 years, right? So, but right now it's really, I enjoy working in those three values, so, and I enjoy that. And so tapping into your values and is making sure and understanding, are you congruent with where you are now?
And what are you currently reinventing for yourself? What's the new direction and new adventure that you have in sight?
New book, new keynotes, new messaging, I'm excited. I'm rebranding. I'm radically reinventing myself. I love it. I'm putting myself through the process that I'm helping people through. So I'm actually really enjoying that process. And then, I'm multifaceted. So I'm an artist with Zahrina Gallery. I do painting. That's come from out of nowhere, but that's just my story, and it's just exciting. And it's so interesting that the art creates a wonderful conversation with people. And I really enjoy that. It's just tapping into my natural creativity again, but something that's just taking me by surprise and other people by surprise. And so I was on national television recently in Australia, and I was yeah. So that TV interview is on my media page on Zahrina Gallery on that website. So that was really cool. I felt really blessed, and that was really helped with curating my story and moving forward in where I'm heading and helping people globally with their brands.
And do you see with your clients some resistance sometimes to this process of reinvention? Because every time we recreate, we reinvent, we transform, we need to let go of a past identity maybe to create and let something new emerge. Do you feel or see any resistance in some of your clients to this process?
Oh, totally. People, they have their moments, we're all human. Yeah. I mean, I've had my own human moments and I'm like, oh, do I have to? Do I need to? Yeah. Yeah. Because there's people who copy you. They end up copying you. And you want to then you also at the same time, when people, like I've had a photographer, copy everything I do. So everything. And so when you have somebody in the marketplace copying everything that you do, you start going, well, that's interesting. And then you look within yourself and I look in myself in a soulful way and go, well, poor thing has no one new ideas. Poor thing can't, you can't copy exactly what I can do so well, but it's that it also makes you think, wow, how exciting. How can I actually, it pushes you to be different. So when you're always getting copied all the time, it pushes you to go, wow, this is here for a reason because that person's here for a reason, copying me. So I've got to look this way and go, wow, I like this messaging coming through. That why do I need to change? What is the messaging out there in the universe is giving me? Is there any you need to change? I'm like, yeah, I love it because I don't want to be clinging on to the old me because that's stale. And I'm happy for other people to get this stale me. I'm into the new me, right?
Like a constant process. Well, what I'm thinking of is that there's two extremes we can go on. On the one side, maybe there's this resistance to change, this staying beige, as you said at the beginning, and just maintaining something too long, static and stable. But on the other hand, there's also the extreme of maybe over reinventing, always changing, and then there's no consistency of brand and people don't understand what you do. So how do you meet that balance between never changing, never innovating, and just staying the same, and almost changing too much so people just don't follow you anymore?
Well, I always look at what is the core message of what you are doing in business anyway. And so I'm just doing what I'm doing in my business anyway. And now I'm actually offering what I really want to offer and enjoying my life in the process. So it's actually about lifestyle now. So it's about my lifestyle. It's about where I want to go in the next 5 years. And then what it is that I actually do to match all those three things up. So I'm launching that new version of me, which is exciting soon. So that will all match up, So it's what makes your heart sing. I think you've got to look at what makes your heart sing. If you don't want to be doing one-on-ones anymore, if you want to do one-to-many much more, do that. Make the change, make the choice, and take up those opportunities and listen to the signals within yourself, your mind and your heart.
Yes, you mentioned the mind and the heart and listening to the signals to that. So interesting. And what is perhaps maybe the biggest struggle that you see when people are building their personal brand? So resistance to change is maybe one of them, and shifting identity. But what do you feel is the biggest struggle or the biggest obstacle when people are working on developing, creating, innovating their personal brand?
The biggest struggle, when they don't get the help and the guidance, and they sit there in the front of their computer and they're wallowing around in misery. Oh, this is so painful. Oh, this is so painful. Oh my God! All these people on Facebook and Instagram, blah blah, look so good, blah 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 blah, and and they're not actually focusing that they need to get help. And I'm telling you, the minute you actually get help with a branding expert who see, like when I do my brand audits and when I work with people one-on-one, I fast track them to success. And that helps them, and it lets them breathe again. And so when they get to breathe again, oh my gosh, miracles happen. Like really, like I love it. The magic happens. I love it.
What do you love so much about it?
I love it because these people go from hero to zero, like zero to hero with me, and they just get reinvented by me. And I love it. I love it. I give them ideas, I style them, I tell them what I'm visionary for them. I'm just a visionary.
It sounds to me like what you do is a lot more than just personal branding.
Yeah, I work with the heart, I really dig deep and very much energy, exchange and understanding. I just feel really in tune with the person. I tune into the person, and yeah, it's a spiritual. It's like to me, it's a spiritual uh, process, but it's not. To me, I do it holistically and I do it strategically, and I just tap into my heart and my intuition more than anything for people, and I come up with these most amazing ideas for them, and they go, "Wow," you know. So yeah, kumbaya.
Sounds very similar to coaching in many ways. It's interesting the overlap because it almost sounds the same. I think the main difference would be the physical visual aspect of things like the video, photo, colors, etc. Obviously, I don't touch on anything like that in my coaching, but it's true that with clients, it's all about tuning in, really, being in synchronicity with them, seeing the holistic picture. Where do they want to go? Inviting them on that journey, helping them to overcome the obstacles. So it's very, very similar.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm always coaching everyone, girlfriends, friends, everyone. I'm a 24-hour coach, I've got, a teenager I'm trying to coach too to be nice as some, so it all works, I just like giving back. I love helping people and guiding them.
Yeah, nice, wonderful. Okay, well, we have only a few minutes left. What would be the last thing you'd like to share with the audience? What would you like to tell them, maybe if they're on their journey, aside from seeking help, which is obviously a huge factor, and listening to their heart? What would be the last piece of advice you'd like to give to the people listening?
Oh, I'd love them to I'll give you the QR code. If you get a QR code from me now through this interview, and scan it, and get my reinvention checklist. I really want you to get it. And so make sure that you enter your details in there so that you get that checklist, and tap into me so I can fast track you, do your brand in a day.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Zahrina. Thank you for joining the show today. I loved what you said about listening to your heart, listening to your intuition, go with what makes you sing. And I love singing, so that's nice too. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I hopefully this helps one person and two people or more. Thank you,
Thank
Katie.
you.